Hi there, it's Yasmin Boland. I am here in Calcutta in India for an astrology conference. So I'm sitting down today with this beautiful flower garland given to me when I arrived this morning to talk to you about February and what's going on in the February stars. Now, first of all, of course, it's Valentine's Day, so I will get to that. But before I talk about Valentine's Day, there's something which I think is even more important in some ways, astrologically at least, is the fact that February brings not one but two eclipses. Well, depending on where you live. If you live on the east coast of Australia or South Australia up into the Northern Territory, you get the full moon eclipse on the 1st of February. In fact, in Western Australia, it took place on the 31st of January. So if you started February feeling a bit traumatized, overly emotional, out of sorts, like everything's really intense, that will be why, because the eclipse is really a powerful time. It's a powerful time because the emotions in astrology are governed by or ruled by or guided by the beautiful moon, okay? And so as the moon swells to fullness every month, our emotions come to the surface. But that actually goes double at the time of a full moon eclipse, which is what we have this month. So the full moon eclipse is the way that February starts off, and if you are feeling a bit over the top emotionally, that is why. And the thing to do is not just to feel all your feelings and, you know, go a little bit crazy, go a bit loony. It's actually a really important time to deal with your emotions. Now, if you happen to follow my show on Hay House Radio, then you might have heard me speaking in January to a wonderful woman called Kate Marilat. We talked about EFT tapping, which is where you tap on these sensitive points on your body. I think I know them all now. I've been doing it on and off for a few years. It's really easy if you look up EFT tapping, and it's actually a way of helping us to deal with our emotions, and especially at the time of a full moon eclipse when all the emotions come up. Rather than pushing them down with alcohol or food or whatever you like to suppress your emotions with, deal with them. And doing something like tapping, because what you do when you're doing tapping is you say something like, even though I've been feeling so distressed about whatever, I truly and completely love and approve of myself. Look it up, Google it. It's really worth doing something like that, or go and see a massage therapist, or do some meditating, do a chakra chant, do it just any old chant that you love to do, whatever you want to do, but do something so you're dealing with your emotions. Some people might say, oh, well, when I run, I deal with my emotions. Fine. Get out there and run, swim, walk in the park, but deal with your emotions, because the whole thing with eclipses is, especially a full moon eclipse, is all the emotions come up. And if we work with the energies, we actually can have an emotional clear out. So we get rid of a lot of toxicity, a lot of negativity. And also, if you're listening to this at the start of February, it's still a really good time to write your full moon forgiveness list. So forgive yourself for whatever you think you've done, forgive anyone else for whatever you think they've done, and just let it go, okay? Sometimes it takes a few times to really let something go, depending on what's happened to you. But overall, this is really an important time to just let things go. The full moon eclipse is about moving on, okay? Full moons are always about climaxes and conclusions, and we always, every month, we need to work with the full moon as a way to just let go of the past, because every month things happen that we have to deal with, we have to process, we have to come to terms with, we have to, you know, make peace with. And the full moon eclipse is that plus, okay? So that's the full moon, and for details about where it's taking place in your sign, you can find all that information on your monthly stars on rescue.com.au. Okay, now then in the middle of the month, February 15, we actually get another eclipse, and in this case it's kind of even more exciting in a way, because it's a new moon eclipse. Now, this is how I see it. full moon eclipses are kind of when we need to do work on ourselves. We need to release negativity. We have to release negativity on a regular basis, or else we just end up being full of toxic emotions. And when we're full of toxic emotions, it's really hard to live a positive life, okay, when we're filled with negativity. I mean, it's just logical. Okay, so the full moon is really a release time. Here in India, at an ashram that I go to, the Sri Narayani Peetham, they have a massive full moon ceremony. I won't be there for it, unfortunately, this month, but thousands of people go around the village and they do worshipping to the goddess. It's absolutely amazing. Can't necessarily do that every month, but you can do a little ceremony at home. But then we get the new moon eclipse, and the new moon is actually kind of far more self-indulgent, and in some ways the work you do at the full moon is actually what empowers you 2 weeks later at the time of the new moon, and in this case the full moon eclipse and the new moon eclipse. So what you really want to do at the new moon eclipse, whatever else you do, is spend some time setting your intentions, because it's a new moon eclipse. Okay, so just write down your top 10 intentions for the next 6 months. So usually at the new moon you would do it for the next 4 weeks, but because this is an eclipse and there won't be another eclipse for another 6 months, do it for the next 6 months, and then you can burn the list or you can hang on to it, whichever you want to do. And again, in terms of what that eclipse actually means for you, it's taking place in the sign of Aquarius. Okay, what that means for you, which part of your chart it's triggering, is all in your stars on rescu.com.au. So how is that going to affect Valentine's Day? Well, Valentine's Day 2018 is actually really interesting, because we've got the new moon eclipse 1 day after Valentine's Day, plus we have a really beautifully placed Venus-Saturn connection. Okay, now Venus is the planet of love and Saturn is the planet of contracts, including marriage contracts. It's the planet of longevity. It's actually a tough planet when it's badly placed, but this Valentine's Day it's actually beautifully placed. So what I'm feeling about Valentine's Day in terms of prediction of the energies is that it's going to be very exciting, because it's just before the new moon eclipse. Okay, so there's going to be all that eclipse energy. But also, not only is it going to be exciting with people doing like literally proposals happening, marriage proposals. You know, Valentine's Day is always romantic, but this year it's kind of, you know, plus. So you've got the eclipse energy, and then you've got this really solid and stable Venus-Saturn connection just after Valentine's Day, which actually suggests that promises made around Valentine's Day are actually going to be kept. So if you would like to improve your love life, then use the middle of February, really use it to sit down and make a list of what you want in your relationships, what you want for yourself and your next partner, what you feel you have to give, and then imagine scenarios, not necessarily visualizing anyone in particular, but visualizing yourself happy in a relationship. It's a really important time to do it. And just to hark back to the full moon work you do when you release the past and you release negativity will help you manifest better at the time of the new moon. And if you're already with someone and you want things to go to the next level, then again, you do a little ceremony around about the 14th or the 15th of January. Okay, it's going to be a really, really good time. Not to manipulate anyone. You can never manipulate anyone. In fact, it's said that if you try to manipulate anyone, for example, around Valentine's Day, that the negative karma can bounce back on you 3 times. So don't be trying to be manipulative. But just maybe set your intention to be open to love. Set your intention to be a better partner. And if you're with someone long term and you think, oh, well, I'm not sure, you know, it's not like I want to go out and seduce someone, we've been together a long time and so on. Still, make Valentine's Day this year a time when you go out and you spend some time together, some beautiful loving time together, and see if you can recommit, because we've got the new moon eclipse, followed by the Venus-Saturn connection. So all in all, it's looking pretty good for February. It's a really powerful time to do energy work. And by the way, if you're not interested in falling in love or improving your love life somehow, Venus-Saturn is also good for finances. So if you really want, if you're more worried about your finances and you're keener to sort your finances out than you're worried about your love life, then you can actually use the Venus-Saturn and the new moon eclipse energy to set your intentions for the next 6 months regarding cash. So what are you planning to do? What are your aims? What do you want? How are you going to make it happen? You know, give yourself some bullet points with action that you can take to make it happen. And Venus-Saturn just after the new moon can be really, really good for moving towards financial stability. And if you want love and money, you can actually work on manifesting both. The stars are really supportive this February. All right, I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening. Have a beautiful month and lots of love from India.